Java not only used to develop the desktop or standalone applications, it is also can be used to develop enterprise applications. So enterprise applications are bit complex applications here. So like includes web applications, mailing, messaging services, right? Java enterprise Java beans like this. You have Java E, right? Java Enterprise Edition. So by using this Enterprise Edition, we can develop enterprise applications. As part of enterprise applications, one type of applications we say as web applications. Web applications, right? So today we try to understand what is the meaning of web, why Java people has given Java key E kind of module to develop such kind of applications, right? Again, the same story as we have seen. Java programs are platform independent, so that is the same reason, because whenever you have an application which runs in a over a network which can be shareable by multiple clients here, so the application should be platform independent. That is the same reason Java people has given this Java J2EE module for us, by using which we can develop a web related applications, right? Enterprise applications, right? So today we'll try to understand, I'm not going to discuss any Java part of this web applications. We'll try to understand some fundamentals related to web. It's already, you know, everybody, because in every day you'll be using the same uh, thing here to access internet and all. So web applications are nothing but internet applications. So there is a specific API given for us, by using which we can develop web or internet applications. Bit complex to understand, but this is the most important I can say technology or specification, right? So which is a foundation for a lot more web technologies in Java, right? As I told you yesterday, whatever the concept we are going to discuss, this is the foundation for servlets, right? This is the foundation for JSPs, struts, JSF, Spring MVC. Like this, lot more technologies are there based on the same specifications, servlet. So whenever and coming to the development environments, so Java is used hugely. 95% of the applications in the industry will be developed web-based applications only. 90 to 95% applications you will see web-based applications, not standalone applications, right? So before moving on to Java, just try to understand what is a web and all, right? So there is simple document is there. Not just we'll go through this document for 5 to 10 minutes here. This document introduces what is the meaning of this document is talks about what is the meaning of web hosting, right? So just some few points are there. One page document is there related to web, what is web and all, how it works and all. Just try to understand this, then we try to develop one or two applications based on this, so that we can see what is the meaning of web application center, right? So you will be accessing every day in your regular day life. Every day you will be accessing some kind of websites and all. So how they work, what is the meaning of web, how they work, right? So related to this, some simple document I have here. Just we try to understand these things, right? So how does internet work? How can I own my website? If I want to create my own website, what should I do here? What is the meaning of web hosting, and what is the meaning of an internet service provider? This document I have taken from W3 schools only. This is not my own, so you can get the same content from that W3 schools, right? Now, what is the meaning of internet? Just simple abbreviations or simple definitions are given, right? So we try to understand this, what actually it is going to work, how it is going to work, right? Now, what is World Wide Web here? That is the first thing. What is World Wide Web? www. Every day we will be using www.this.com, that.com, and all. What is the meaning of this here, right? So the web is a network of what? Computers over the world. What is the meaning of web here? Network of computers. So throughout the world, all computers are connected together for sharing some kind of information. That is the meaning of web. A web is nothing but what? Network of computers. Network of computers. Throughout the world, how many machines are there? Millions of machines. All these machines are connected to what? To a network to share the documents. Right? So it's lots of definitions you can find, network of networks and all. So in simple, a network of computers all over the world, right? So that is the meaning of web. So all computers in the world can communicate with each other, and all computers, while communicating each other, there are some set of rules will be there, and all computers follows a communication protocol called as what? HTTP. When we talk about a web, all web, when all the computers are connected to over a network and they communicate with each other by using a protocol called as what? HTTP. It's very simple thing. So today also I'm able to do what? So you are able to communicate with me. You are able to connect it to my machine. You can see my desktop and all. The same kind of, yeah. Because our machines are connected to a network. From that network will be my computer, my documents, and whatever I'm doing here, you can see there, and whatever you want to talk, I can over the network here, right? So simple here, a web is nothing but a network of computers all over the world for sharing some kind of information. And generally, this internet, when we talk about internet, this internet uses a protocol. All computers uses a protocol called as HTTP. Stands for what? HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. What is this? Hypertext Transfer. The name itself says. What is the name itself says? So all computers can exchange the information, and that information we call as Hypertext Transfer Protocol, right? So that is the meaning of HTTP. So this is also very regular uh, word you might be using when you type something in your browser's address bar, HTTP www.gmail.com, this.com. So what is the meaning of HTTP? This is a protocol. As we discussed, protocol is nothing but some set of rules, and this protocol used to exchange what? This protocol is used to exchange the information, and what is that? Pages we call hypertext. We call those text. The text which is exchanged by using this protocol is called as what? Hypertext, right? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So all computers connected over a network to communicate with each other, and they use a communication protocol called as what? HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And this protocol is used to what? This protocol is used to transfer the hypertext. This hypertext means lots of things you will have here. This protocol is used to transfer the hypertext. Right? How, this is a very important point, how this World Wide Web is working, how it is working. Right? See this, these 5 points are very important for this web information. Whatever the information you want to share to the world, those information is stored in documents, and these documents are called as what? Web pages. Web documents are web pages. We call them as documents. Web documents are web pages. So whatever the information, content you want to share, all this content will be stored inside some documents, and these documents we call as web pages. Right? Fine. The first important point here. Then web pages are files stored on computers called as what? Web servers. So whatever the information you want to store, share, that information will be keeping inside a page, and that page is called as web page, and these web pages will be stored inside what? A web server. So what is the meaning of web server? We come to that point later. Web pages are files stored on computers called as what? Web servers. So computers reading the web pages are called as web clients. These are the two important technical terms here. Very, very important. The computers which are having the pages, storing the pages, are called as web servers, and the computers which are accessing Those pages are called as web clients. It's a very regular term. Now when you type gmail.com on your browser, what does it mean? Is it gmail.com is a website which is it there in your machine? No. Your machine is trying to interact with a server to a other machine where that application is running, and from that application, that machine, your machine is able to connect to that machine over the network, and it tries to make a request to that machine where that gmail.com application is running, and that application is given back to your machine. Right? Two important terms. Whenever you come across these technologies, servers and clients, both are two important terms. And a server has its own responsibility and client has its own responsibility. We will try to understand the responsibilities of these things later. Right? So there are two things are required for us. One is web servers. So just in simple words, you can say web server is a machine or a software, it can be anything, which is used to store the web pages, and these web pages can be accessed through web clients. Two different things. Web clients and web servers. They store the pages in a network, and these are access the pages from the network. Now my machine here, what is my machine? Generally when I am trying to access any web pages over a network, my machine becomes a web client. Generally machine is not a web client actually, but you can take, no problem. Right? So what web clients are going to do here? Web clients views the pages with a program called as web browser. So whenever you want to communicate, one second. Hello. Hello. ఎవరు? చెప్పమ్మా చెప్పమ్మా చెప్పమ్మా. హలో. చెప్పారు. Right. So here, this is what here. Now, web information stored inside web pages, and web pages are stored inside web servers, and the computers which access those pages are called as web clients, and web clients views the pages with a program called as what? Web browsers. Right? So every day we'll be using these things, web browsers, very regular softwares we'll be using. Very common softwares we'll use everyday life to access what? Web pages. Firefox, Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, right? Opera, Safari, lots of browsers are available for you. Any browser you can use, any browser can be used to access the web pages which are stored inside what? Web servers. And technically we can say web browsers also acts like a clients. So what is a web browser software? In simple, I can say web browser software is the interface between you and that particular application. And these web browser softwares, different web browser softwares are there. Through any browser you can make a request to what? A page which is stored inside a web server. So two different terms here and very important terms. So we as a user will be at this side. What are we trying to do here? We become web, we are end users. We are the end users. We'll be using some kind of special softwares to access the web pages. So this is other side of it. This is the other side of it, and this is the end user side. Getting me? Two different parts I can say. I'm dividing it to two different parts. Web pages will be developed by some programmers, and they will be kept into some kind of computers called as web servers. And as an end user, I am using my system to access those web pages by using a software called as web browser. And this is a very regular thing what we are going to do in our regular life when you want to access the internet, web pages from internet. Yes, is it okay? Is it okay? You there, guys? Yep. Now this is what you have here. This is what two different things. Try to differentiate the two things here. So the machines which stores the pages are called as, it can be a machine or it can be a software called as servers, and through which you want to access those pages are called as what? Clients. And we use a special software called as web browser. Right? This is how it works. This is how web works, internet works, right? So how does a web browser is going to fetch a web page? So these are the special softwares we use to fetch the web pages, right? So these web pages, whatever we are talking, these web pages generally we develop by using a language called as HTML. So these are web documents, and these documents, to design and develop these documents, we generally use a language called as HTML. Apart from HTML, there are some other languages also used, right? HTML is the language. So what is this? What is it stands for? HTML stands for what? Hypertext Markup Language. Hypertext markup language, that is HTML. So hypertext markup language, this is the programming language, markup language actually, not a programming language. This is the markup language which is used to design these pages. And to transfer these pages over a network, we use a protocol called as what? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Are you able to connect these things now? Right? So we develop these web pages by using a language called as HTML. Still lot more technologies can be used, but the basic technology we use is HTML to develop these kind of web pages. And these web pages will be transferred over in between. These web pages will be transferred in between web clients and web servers by using a protocol called as what? HTTP. Are you able to connect these things? Right? So this is what here. So this is one language which is required for us to design these web pages. Right? Then after design, we place these web pages in a web server. Right? So placing the web pages in a web server is called as what? What we call that? Placing web pages in a web server is called as hosting. Hosting means what? Placing your web pages into a server is called as hosting. Once your web pages are hosted into a server, these pages can be accessed by using web clients or browsers. Right? So how a browser is going to fetch a web page here? This is one more important thing, because web browsers are what? I can say clients. Clients to access the web pages. So these browsers fetches a page from a web server by making what? A request. Very, very, very important term, a request. Because whenever you talk about client and servers, every client and server communicates with each other. A client and server communicates with each other by using what? A request and response model. Client and server, a client always makes a request and server always sends a response back. So here a browser software which acts like a client, which makes a request to what? A server for accessing a page. A server can host what? Multiple pages. A server can host multiple pages. Out of these pages, which page you want to access? So to access a particular page, what a client is going to do here? A client always makes a request. A client always makes a request. Right? So this request is made by using a protocol called as what? HTTP. And that request contains the address of the page. The address of the page. So what is the meaning of address? We'll try to understand. Name of the page or something here. So this is what the example here. Protocol. The machine where that page is stored and the page name. Right? So by using this is the protocol, this is the address of the machine where that page is, application is running, and this is the page I want to access. This is a very common thing you see in the network, right? So how a web browser is going to fetch the web pages, or the web browser is going to fetch the web pages? A web browser makes a request. As part of its request, it is going to send the page address, and that address looks like this. Includes the protocol, host address and all. So this is what a web browser is going to do. Right? This is what every day your web browser, whatever you are doing with the help of your web browser, this is what actually is the meaning. Now how does a web browser display that page? Again, this is the one. How does a web browser is going to display the page, right? So a web browser is a software. A web browser is a software, right? And what is a web page? A web page is a document which is developed by using a language called as what? HTML language. Right? HTML document or web page, both are same. We say HTML documents or web pages. Then how a browser is going to display that content? Browser makes a request, right? And server is going to send that page back to what? Back to what? Browser. Then how it is going to display it? How this page is going to displayed by the browser? Right? It is not a different thing here. It is all whatever you do here is the same case. Let's suppose I have written my Java program. Take the example. I have written my Java program. After writing my Java program, if I want to execute my Java program, what I'm going to do here? Writing a Java program means what? I'm going to write my own text. I'm going to write a text, simple text in my own human understandable format. Then I'm giving this text to a simple one software called as what? Java compiler. Java compiler knows how to parse this text. Yes or no? The Java compiler knows how to parse this text, how to compile this text. Once it is compiled successfully, it is going to generate you one more intermediate file that is called as class file. Then it is going to execute it. In the same way, this browser is the browser software which is going to use to access the web pages. So all browser softwares, whatever the browser software you take, maybe Internet Explorer, Firefox, or any browser software you take, these browser softwares knows how to compile and execute a HTML document. When a HTML document is given to a browser software, this browser software knows how to compile and execute that page, which is written by using HTML language. So whenever you write a programming, whenever you do a programming by using HTML kind of programming language, no need any special software to compile and execute. A simple browser software is enough to run your HTML pages, because every browser knows how to parse and how to execute HTML page. After executing HTML page, how should the content should be displayed to the end user? That is the software. That is the browser software is going to do for you. What is the browser software is going to do for you? All web pages contains the instructions, right? Some kind of instructions will be there. While designing these web pages, as a programmer, we are going to add some instructions to that web pages, in the web pages, and the browser is going to read that instructions. Browser is going to read these instructions, and it knows, after reading that instructions, it knows how to display that content to the end user. And the instructions example is given here, how we are going to write these instructions by using simple tags, HTML tags. These instructions we write by using a simple tags called as what? HTML tags. So that is what here. So what is a web browser? It is a software. A web browser is a software which knows how to display, how to compile and execute what? HTML pages, which are written, the pages, the programs which are written by using HTML. These web browsers knows how to compile and execute them. Every browser in the market. So if you want to design your own browser, yes, you can design it. So it should know how to compile and execute what? HTML documents. So I am not going to do anything here. Now what is a server? What is web server is going to do then? What is this web server is going to do then? Right? This is a very important thing. These are the two different things here. Web browsers and web server. What is going to do here? A web browser contains, web server contains the collection of web pages, is called as a website. What is the meaning of website here? Collection of web pages. The collection of web pages is called as website. After designing your website, we are going to place this website into what? A software. That software is web server software. And this mechanism is called as publishing or hosting. So to let other view your web pages, whatever the web pages you have designed, whatever the website you have designed, if you want other to view your website, it should be published. Your website should be published. Publishing a website means what? Placing this website into a server is called as what? Publishing. Right? So to publish your work, you must copy your site into a web server. Very simple task. What is the meaning of publishing here? Whatever the website you have designed, group of pages, copy them into a web server. That's it. Right? So here, so whatever the PC you are using, that can also act like a web server, and which should be connected. Right? So this is what you have here. Now, can you differentiate different rules here? So how can you put here? Now, as a programmer, now if you put it diagrammatically, there are two important things to be noted here. What are those two here? One is web browser software. The other one is web server software. So what is this web browser server and what is this browser and software are going to, what are the responsibilities here? What are the responsibilities you have for these client and servers? This is we call as clients. So what is actually, how can you define a client? First, that is the important thing. How can you define a client? What does a client mean? Right? So a client is anything which requests a particular service. Right? So what is a client here? A client can be anything which requires some kind of services. And what is a server here? Again, server can be, in simple I can say a server is one which services, which provides some set of services. A client is one which needs the services, in simple. Right? Here if you take, I am the service provider and you are the service receivers. So you are the clients to me. But depends on the services which are provided, we have different servers and we have different clients available. So what services I am providing here? My services are different. Some other person can provide some other different services. Some other person can provide some other different services. In the same way, here also we will have different services. Database servers you have. What database servers are going to do for you? What is the meaning of database server? It is also providing some set of services to its clients. What services it is going to provide the database server? The database servers provide services like saving the data, persisting the data into them, and persisting the data permanently to access. Those are database servers. Web servers, what web servers are going to do? Again, web servers are also servers which provide some set of services. What are these services? So these web servers provides the services. So what is a web server? Which provides the services to its clients by exchanging hypertext documents. What these web servers are going to do here? A web server is one, what is it? It is going to store a website. And whenever a client makes a request, right, it is going to send that web pages back to what client. So it can be anything. A server is one simple. It is always provide some set of services. That is called a server. And different servers are available according to the services which provide. We call them as different servers. Database servers, web servers, right? Proxy servers, right? Domain naming servers. You have different servers available for you based on their services. Right? So what is a server here? How can you define? So what rules you have for these servers here? Now the question is are these servers are machines? Are they machines? Right? A server can be a machine or it can be a software also. It's not always server means, don't imagine it should be a computer. No, you cannot say it. It can be a machine or it can be a software. It can be a simple program also. A simple program also can also act like a what? Server. Now what responsibilities you will have? Right? So if it is very regular, again, what is server here? If I want to provide the services, right? So it should be, if I want to provide the services to a client, I should be first, as a server service provider, I should be running. Then client can access, client can take my services. So generally servers are those which runs 24/7. Some set of machines or applications which runs right, continuously. Once the server is continuously running, so a client can access the services from this. So what is the server here? Depends on the different relations you have, depends on the different type of services you have, you define the different terminology for them, right? So here we are talking about web servers. A web server is a software or a machine which is responsible to host or publish what? Web applications or websites. And a website is nothing but what? Set of web pages. Right? So that is the one. So what is a client is, what a client mean here? Again, a client can be anything. A client can be anything which requires the services. So what rules you have for a client here then? What rules you have for a client? So if you define the rules of a client here, the client's rules are simple here. What rules a client is having? So server is the one which is a program or software which continuously runs here, and it is the responsibility of the client, right? See here, if you take what is the communication, how the communication is happening in between us. So I am a service provider. I announced it to the market saying what I am going to provide these kind of services, and it is the responsibility of you. But what you did here, you searched according to, based on your requirement, you searched a particular server, right? You have a requirement to learn the Java course. Then what you did, you started searching for the person who is going to provide you with the services, right? Like a Java, delivering the Java content and all. So you searched it. After you searched it, what you did here, first, a client always is going to connect to a server. So the server, it's the responsibility of the client. It's the responsibility of the client which services he wants. So once, if the server is found, if a client finds the server which provides such kind of services, it's the responsibility of the client just make a connection with that server. Then after making connection, so what a client is going to do here? The next is very important thing here. A client is going to make a request. It is the client's responsibility. Client's responsibilities are what? Connect to the server and make a request. Then once the request is made, what a server is going to do here? What a server is going to do here? Server sends the response back to the client. Server sends the response back to the client, right? So don't think in different way. It is very simple. Response back to the client. So it is simply client and server. Whenever we talk about the client and server, so these are the client's responsibilities. What client's responsibilities? Client can be a machine or software, anything which always connects to the server and sends the request. Request contains what? What service he wants, information related to the service. And the server is going to take the request, process the request, and whatever after processing the request, whatever the result is generated, simply send this result back to what? Client. This is called as what? Sending the result back to the client is called as what? Response. Always a client sends a request and server responds to the client. So yesterday also we have seen the same. Java application. Java application is a client program to the database server through which I send my request to the database server. Database server processed my request and sent the data back to my program. That is a different kind of communication you have, and this is a different kind of communication here. Different clients are available, different servers are available. According to the services provided, you will find different servers. Again, is the same case. Right? So when you talk about the web, especially web here, now can you define still more what responsibilities the server is going to do? Right? So server is going to host or publish a website. Right? Server is responsible for publishing a website, right? Then when a request comes, what it is going to do here? Send a web page back. Send a page back to what? To the client. Right? This is what? This process is called as what? Response. Send a web page. When request comes, send a page or send a response back. In simple, I can say what? Response. Instead of web page, send a response back to the client. Right? Now what client's responsibility here? Connect to the server and make a request. And once a response is sent back to the client, client is going to take that, receive that response, connect, make a request, and once that response is sent back to client, client is going to receive that response and display the content to what? Display the response message to what? End user. Messages to what? End user. This is what we are going to do here. This is what we are going to do here. Now, whatever the applications we are going to develop, they are called as web applications. And a web application is a set of web pages. And this web application always resides where? Always a web application resides in web server. And so set of web pages. A web server is responsible for hosting set of web pages. Right? And once I develop, once I place this applications here, by using a client, we can access the web pages. Right? Are you able to follow me here? Very important thing here. Everybody able to follow here? Yes or no? Yes. Now just let us take one simple example then, right? So that we try to understand this communication here. Now, yeah, wait, lots of things are there to be discussed. We'll take a simple example, right? Now let's suppose we take a general scenario, right? Now you will be accessing google.com, right? So you'll be accessing google.com, right? Now if you imagine yourself, what you become? You are an end user. What you are? You are an end user, right? We are the end users. Now as an end user, we are using a software called as what? What is this software? Browser software, or we call as web client. Browser software, or we call it as web client, right? Yes or no? Yes. Now can you say what is the role of you here? You are doing this task every day. What is the role of you as a end user? Can you say here? If you want to access the web pages over a network, you are developing the web pages. Huh? I am talking about google.com. Take the example of google.com. Then what is the role here you have as a end user? What is the role you have here to access the google.com? Can you tell? I'm talking about your roles. It's a very regular day you are doing this activity. Right? So here, now here first thing is some other programmer will be there here. Some other programmer is there who has developed a website called as what? Google.com, and he placed this website into what? He placed this website into what? Web server. Yes, that is the first part here. Yes or no? Are you getting me? server side, right? There will be some programmer. Let's suppose there is some kind of programmer. He developed a website and he placed his website into what? A web server. This is what. Now when a website is placed inside a server, now this website can be accessed by some other machines. Now what you are going to do here, what is your responsibility? Now as a end user, you will be using a software called as what? Browser software. And through this browser software you are connecting to what? That web server where that web application is, and you will be making a request and that server is sending a response as google.com page. Yes. Giving this http www.google.com is nothing but you are making a request. That is nothing but making a request. http://www.google.com. Now, how you are making a request here? You are making a request through a browser, and through this browser, when you make a request, it is sent to that server where that application is running, and that server sends that page back to what? Browser. Now, how the browser is displaying that page? Now, this page is a simple HTML document kind of thing, and your browser knows how to display that HTML document to you. Now the question here is, are you able to differentiate different rules here? Are you able to differentiate different rules here? That is a very important question to be understand. Are you able to differentiate the rules of different people here? There are some set of people who are going to develop these web pages, websites, and they places their websites into what? Web servers. This is the one side of it. The other side of it is there are group of people who uses some kind of special software browsers to make a request to these web pages. Once this web page is found, the server is going to send that web page back to what? Browser. There are two different things here, users and the developers. Developers develop the pages and place them into a server, and users access these pages by using some special software called as browsers. Now can you say what basic requirements I should have here? If I want to develop and access these kind of pages, what basic requirements I need to have? Can you tell? What are the basic requirements I will have if I want to achieve this? HTML. What is the purpose of HTML? Can you say what is the purpose of HTML? Come on, speak out. What is right? So somebody is talking about absolutely, yeah, correct answer. Somebody is saying you required one HTML. Actually it is a programming language. No need any special software need to be installed for this. So that means what? You are talking about HTML means what? You want to develop your web pages. That is the first thing. Right? Next. Come on, there is the first thing. Right? Web pages. Develop web pages. Okay, fine. Using HTML. Fine. There are different languages are there still, but HTML is the base. Next. Browser like Internet Explorer is required. Fine. Okay, fine. Next. So what is this browser is required? Browser software is required. What is the purpose of browser software? So this side, you are saying this side, right? One, browser software is required. Cool. Browser software is required. What is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of this? Browser software's purpose. To send a request. Absolutely fine. To whom it sends a request? Done. This is only two things. You require web pages. Absolutely correct. Very important thing. We are missing this side. To host these web pages, we require what? As a programmer, you develop your web pages. Developing a web page cannot be accessed by others over the network. You require what? A server, web server, to host your web pages. To host the web pages, website. In simple combination of web. Right? This side you require a web server, a program or a software or a machine, anything. A software or a machine, anything. Right? So this is required and web browser is required. That's it. And how they communicate with each other. Right? They communicate with each other over a network. They communicate with each other over a what? Network. By using a protocol called as what? Communication protocol called as HTTP. There is a network is there. Yeah, TCP/IP. TCP/IP is the protocol, but HTTP runs on top of what? TCP/IP. HTTP is a protocol which runs on top of TCP/IP. Right? So this browser and server exchanges the information by using a protocol called as what? HTTP. That's it. Now, can you say, now what are the responsibilities? Let's suppose, if you think, if you imagine yourself as a developer, if you imagine yourself as a developer, what is required? Now my question is, if you imagine yourself as a developer, what is your responsibilities? What are your responsibilities if you are a developer? Come on. Develop a website and host this into a web server. Absolutely correct. Nothing. Right? Very simple. Next. This side, let's suppose, if you are acting like an end user, what is your responsibility? To connect to the web server, not website, right? Connect to a web server, nothing but make a request to the server and just see the results. Send a request. Through what software? As an end user, you send a request by using a browser software. I am specifically talking about web technologies here. Right? So as an end user, your responsibility is to use a browser software to make a request to the server. And server is going to send a response back to what? Client. So you are the end user using a software called as browser to make a request, and whatever the response comes from a server, just this browser is going to display the text to you. Right? Now, so shall we do this now? Are you able to clearly differentiate these two things? Shall we try to implement this? Right? Let us try to do this then. One simple example I'm going to do. So I'm going to design my web page. Okay, online classes. Here I'm going to create my own directory. Create directory. Let's suppose my website. My website. Right? So this website contains what? Group of web pages. And these web pages, as you said, we'll be using a language called as what? HTML to design and develop these web pages. So I'm going to take a HTML page. So HTML pages simply contains what? So HTML page is very simple to develop. They use some kind of tags. The root tag or starting tag is called as what? HTML. Every tag, a tag will have what? Two things, open and close. Each tag will have two things, starting tag and ending tag. Combined together is called as what? A tag. Right? So the root tag here is HTML, and you can have two child tags here. For this, there are two different childs for this. So two different parts I can say inside this: head and what? Body section. Body section is where the content, whatever the content you write, that will be displayed to what? To the end user. So I am designing simple web page. No special software is required to run this, right? So here, like this simple tags you will have everywhere. You will have tags here: title, right? My first web page, right? So title here, right? So welcome to my website. Simple text, nothing here. Just save it with the name called as, right? So these documents should be saved with the extension called as HTML. That's it, right? So if you want to test, whether your developed page is correct or not, you don't require any special software here. A browser software is enough. Just I have created my web page, but I did not do anything still yet, right? Now just I want to test whether my web page is correctly developed or not. Directly you open this with web browser. I did not hosted it. Just I am checking whether my code is correct or not. See here, when you run this, right, online classes where I have saved it, when I run this, now this is the content it is going to show. But if you see my program here, lots of things are there. So this tags are not displayed for you. Only the text inside this tags is displayed for you, right? So these are instructions. As we have seen here, HTML document is nothing but what? The browser displays the page by reading the instructions. So we add some instructions and the browser reads that instructions and displays the content to the end user. And these instructions like this, looks like this. We call the instructions are tags. We call them as what? Tags here, like this. Every instruction will be written like this. So this is paragraph tag, we say, like this. You have n number of different tags you have here to be used for generating different kind of content. Now just go to the browser or refresh it. Now I can say this is a paragraph, right? So you have different tags here. Bold, if you want to see a bold text on your page, right? This is a bold text. So that is the meaning of hypertext. What is the meaning of hypertext? A text which is embedded in between what? These tags, the text which is embedded inside a tag is called as what? Hypertext. Not only text, you can see here images, video files, everything you can embed in between these tags, right? Bold text, headers, lot more things you can see, right? So like this you can develop your web page. So I did my developing my web page. So what I did here, so this task is completed. This task is what? Completed. I developed my web page. I developed my website and my website contains only one page, not more. Next, what I need to do here. So as a developer, I'm talking, I'm now we will be seeing from the developer point of view what I need to do here. Now I develop my web page. Next, what I need to do here. Come on. No. Hosting. Next thing is what? Just I developed it. I did not hosted it. I need to host it. So if I want to host it, I require server software. I require what? Server software. There are n number of web servers are available for you. Some are commercial, some are free, right? So you can use the web servers. So right, I'm having already one web server is installed in my machine. That web server is Apache. Now if I want to host my website inside that Apache server, what I need to do here? First of all, I need to start that server. Tomcat, Apache Tomcat here. I'm starting my server. Is it already started? Yeah. right? So I'm going to start my server here. So there are multiple ways to start a server. This web server Apache is the web server I am using. Like this, you have different web servers. Start. Right, my server software is started. Okay, right, this is also Tomcat only. This is a one way to start it. Stop, it is stopped, or you can go with other way. You can do other way. Just go to the installation location of the software. I think the software is installed in my C drive, program files, Apache. Right, there are two different Tomcats are available for me. You can choose any one. I'm going with 6. Right, Apache Tomcat 6. There is a folder called as bin, and here you will find some executable file. Just run it. Now the server is starting. It's a simple program. It is a software which is now started. Can you see here? This is just it is going to display the information related to the server. What happens in the server and all. To display that information, this console is given to you. This console shows you what is happening inside a server. Now you can see there is a message. What is the message? You can see here. You can see a message called as what? Server starts up. Now what is that server? Apache. Right? What is the server here? Apache. And my server software is running inside what? A port number called as 9090. Right? So what I did here? Now what I did here? What I did here? Just I started my server software. That's it. Nothing more. I did not host it, nothing I did. My software is running a port number called as what? 9090. Right, now if I want to connect, this is a web server. What is this server? This is a web server. Now if I want to connect to my server, what should I do here? How can I connect to a server? Now if I want to connect to a web server, what should I do? If I want to connect to a web server, so what here? So this is, let's suppose this is some kind of server, right? So which is running, and how can I connect to this server? Right? We use softwares like what? We use the softwares like web browsers to connect to the servers. Right? Now just give me 5 minutes. Just think about it here. Give me just 5 minutes. Right, guys. Right. So what I did here is just I started the server because this is a web server. If you want to connect to a web server, you require a web client, and web clients are nothing but browsers. Right? How you make a request to a web server? We make a request to a web servers to web clients, and these web clients we call as browsers. You can take any browser here. Still, my application I did not host it, but just I want to show you my web server is running. My web server is running where? Now here is the key point. Now how to connect to a web server? Now the key point here is we use a protocol called as HTTP colon where my server software is running here, where my client software as well as where my server software is there are running. Both are running in the same machine, right? Yes or no? In this case, my client software as well as my server software both are running in the same machine. Client software is nothing but web browser, and just now I started my server in the same machine, right? So we use a local host. What we use? Local host. Now where is my server software is running? I shown you the port number previously, 9090. See here, this is what? This is software which is running in my machine only and which is running inside a port number called as 9090. Right? Because the client and server both are there in the same machine. Because the client and server both are there in the same machine, I am using what? Local host. If the client and server runs in a different machines, you need to use the address of the machine. And as we discussed previously, every software, every program runs in a specific port, and my software is running in a port number 9090. Just make a request here. Now this is the Tomcat server, you can see now. What is this? This is a Tomcat server. When you access, still I am not accessing any website here, right? Now into this I need to place my, so it is asking some restriction passwords are asking here. I don't know. I forgot actually. What is this? Yeah, it's fine. So now this is my server software and I need to place my application which I developed into this server. Still I did not do it. So there are some other software, other web applications are already loaded into this. See here, array some other applications are there still inside this. Right? So these are all websites which are developed. These are all websites which are developed. Right? Oh, lot more. Now what I need to do here, I too also need to place my web application into this. You can use any browser here. Absolutely, you are free to use any browser. Now what I am doing here, I am using a Firefox now. HTTP colon address of the server where it is running, local host colon 9090, because I want to host now. As a developer I am doing this task. If I want to host it, you need to host it into the server. Now like this. Both are, see, there is no difference. So this is Internet Explorer client, this is Mozilla Firefox client. You can see the same. So this is my web server having lots of web applications already deployed into this. Okay, already there is website. Let me remove this. Right? Now what I need to do here? Now what is my requirement now? What is my requirement now? Whatever the website I developed, what is the website I developed? I want to place this website inside this web server. Okay? Yes or no? See, the roles and responsibilities are very clear as I described here. Now I have developed my website. Now I have started my web server, but I did not place this website into the server. Now I'm going to do this. Placing this website into the server is called as hosting or publishing. Once I do it through a client, I can access it. But still, without hosting also, you can access your server also. Still, lot more stuff will be there. Now we try to do this now. Now I want to host it. Again, multiple techniques are there to host your website. Right? Now, so this is the Apache server, right? This is the Apache Tomcat server I'm using. Inside this, again, where is my server software is installed? This is installed in C, program files, Apache, right? So this is the server. Now there is one location, web apps. What is this folder is responsible for? In the server, there is one folder that is responsible for storing all websites. So whatever the websites you want to place, all websites will be placed into the same location. So these are all the websites, right? Now Tomcat web apps. Okay, are you able to see this? Now what I'm going to do here, whatever the application I have developed, I'm going to copy that application and paste into this location in the server. There is nothing but hosting. This is not correct way. This is not absolutely not correct way. We have different technique, and that we see later. Right? So what I'm going to do here, whatever the application I have in my what drive, E colon, right? In my E colon, whatever the website I have, this folder I am going to take, cut or copy, and I'm going to paste this, place this website into what? The server. And into the server what location? Web apps. This location is not same for all the servers. Different servers will place their places websites in different locations. In the Apache Tomcat, this is the location. Web apps is the location. I am pasting my website inside this. Now how many web pages are there in my website now? Only one, right? Now see this. Now you can see here. Now what I'm going to see, observe this carefully. Just I would like to show you. Observe these two screens carefully. This is what my server. As I told you, this is server console. It shows what is happening in the server. Now what I'm going to do is I am removing, delete my website. I am trying to delete it. Delete. I have deleted it. See here, what is the message it is displayed to you? Did you see here? Undeploying. Yes or no? What is the meaning of undeploying? Removing. Now let me place it. If I place it, it is going to, this server is going to show you what? Paste. Now see the console, observe the console. It is taking some time to deploy it. See there, you got it? What is it is displayed now? Deployed. What is the meaning of deploying? Simple, placing the website into the server. I placed it. Now I have only one page, time being I have only one page. Now I have placed my page, my website into the server. Now when you place a website into the server, what does it mean? When you place a website into the server, what does it mean? Right? So when you place a website into the server, what is the meaning of that? Right? So web server. Now I developed it to let others know. I have hosted it. I have hosted it. To publish your work, you must copy your site into your web server. I did it. Now from the server point of view, I completed it. Right. Website name is my website and the pages are welcome something I have given. This is I done from the server point of view. Right. Are you able to see these three things? Collection of web pages, but I have a single page. And all these pages collected is website and I placed it. Now what the other side you can do here. Right? So your piece, my PC itself is acting like a web server. This is I did. Now next is what? What a web server is going to do here. A web browser. A web browser fetches the pages from a web server by making a request. Now this is server side. As a developer point of view, I completed it. What is the meaning of developer point of view? I developed my website, I placed it. This is done. Now I require a browser. Now I'm talking in terms of what? Client, end user. Now he's responsible for accessing these web pages, and if a client wants to access these web pages, he requires what? A web browser. Now I'm taking the web browser. Now through this web browser, I need to make a request, HTTP : and where that web application is deployed into a server, and that server is running in a machine called as localhost Where the server is running, it is running in a machine called as what? Localhost, same machine. My client and my server both are located in the same, right? And running in a port number called as 9090. What is your website name? What is your website name? My website. And from this website, what page you want to access? I have only one page. I want to access welcome.html. See this? Now page is coming from where? The page is coming from the server. Server is given the response and your client is able to display this page. Yes or no? So here in this application, what I placed actually, I played two roles. I played a developer role as well as I played a end user role. Don't get confused. You need to be very clear in differentiating these two different roles here. I played both roles. I played a developer role to create the website and place it, and on the other hand, I played a end user role to access that web page. Right? Now let's see. If it is the case, let us try to do one thing. I'm going to stop my server. Server is stopped. No server is running. Now can I access this web page? I'm trying to through my browser. I'm trying to connect to a machine where the application is running in the server localhost in a port number 9090. Am I able to do this now? See, I made a request now. Processing. Saying what? Boss, I cannot establish a connection with a server in this location. I don't know. I cannot establish a connection with this. See, the browser is saying, but I don't know how to establish a connection with this particular server. Yes or no? Because server is not running. Server is not running. That is the reason why it cannot establish any connection here. Now, if a client needs to establish a connection, server must be in running mode. Then only a client can access. If a server is not running, what a client is going to get? Server means what? It should be run 24/7 in general. When a server provides services, then only a client can take it. No server is running, then where is the services? Now, if you want to do it again, you need to start your server. So, as I told you, multiple techniques are there. So, the server, there is one exe file will be there. There is one exe file will be there. Just run it. Double click on this. Now my server is started. Alright, so while it is started, because already I deployed my web application, right? Already I placed, because my web application is already there in the server. Now while it is starting, it tries to deploy all the web applications which are already there. Now you can see somewhere your web application also. Excuse me. So when, because already I placed my web application in the server somewhere, you can see it is, while it is starting up, it is going to host all your web applications. Somewhere also you can see your web application. So here these are the messages actually. So new data, these are all web application. Addition is one web application, addition one application form, arrays, core Java, custom tags. So I don't know who has created all these things. Database, DB, dispatcher, docs, examples, forgot, JDBC, JSF, JSP website, JSTL login, my web. Yeah, here. You got it? See this? What is it is doing? So while server is starting up, it is trying to deploy because already it is there, right? Deploying web application directory, my website. So your application is already deployed because already it is there in the server. While server starts up, it is deploying, right? No need to deploy again. Is it required now? Not required, right? Because your application is now deployed. Now let us make a request because already application is there. Now you can make a request from a client. It is now started. Now the same thing if I want to do with the Internet Explorer, we can do the same. What is it? HTTP colon localhost colon 9090 slash my web application slash, what is that? Welcome dot html. Saying what? It's not my web application, it is what? My website. Right, that is wrong. Now you got it. Right, some other thing also you are getting, it's fully affected with virus. This is what my actual web application, right? Now this is what is the web, right? So such kind of applications we are going to develop. Now if you want to add still more applications, you can add. Now because already I have hosted it, because server is also with in my system, I am going to add some other web pages, web apps, Tomcat web apps, my website. What is it? Now I am going to add still more pages. If you want to add, you can add. Now I am going to design the pages here. New. Is there any HTML document? No, right? Fine. Suppose login.html. It is not HTML document. You need to remodify it. File save as. I'm directly I'm directly adding the web pages in my web server only. Now login.html. When a new page is added, is it going to redeploy it? Actually, it should redeploy it. Okay, we add some content into this now. How to add some content into this? We can HTML document, HTML colon, right, head. These are the simple tags. You can easily learn it. Every opening tag should be closed actually. If you don't close also it works. It is compiler free language. Login page, right? Then body. Right? Username. Right, now here again one more tag I'm using, input type. So we'll see some graphical images, right? You will see some graphics. Input type is equal to text. We'll see what is output of this. Name is equal to some name. This things we can simply learn them. That's it. One tag I have completed. Don't concentrate what I'm writing here. Actually, it's not required because we'll be seeing them later. Fine. It's directly I have added into my website, and my website is already there in the server. So I think I no need of hosting again, because already I have developed this page inside what? Inside the server, is it? Right. Now let us try to make a request to this, or let us try to modify this welcome slightly. I would like to add some code into this welcome also. It is opened with this one, edit plus. Now just I would like to add one tag here. This is what actually this is the meaning of HTML. Hyperlink, this is called as, you see the links in your web page. Login. Click here to login. Just I have modified my welcome also. That's it, done. So how many my website is containing how many pages now? 2 pages. Now you can make a request to any page, that's your choice. But if you want to make a request, you require a client browser. Now welcome.html, make a request. Now I can see here, click here to login. This is a new content which I have added, right, to the login page. But I have specified it for the body, no problem, we can write anywhere. Without this HTML tags also we can write it, but it's not correct thing to do. Right, now what it is going to do here, click here to login. When I click it, okay, that is wrong here. So what is the meaning of this? This is the text you can see here on your client's browser. On the browser, when you click it, it is going to open a page called as login.html. Simply you will see this technique, you will see this very regularly, clicking on the hyperlinks and all. The same thing here. Go back. Yeah. See there? Oh, it's not properly designed. This is title. I would like to keep this as title. Close this. Just I would like to just separate them by using some special break. It's a line break. Line break means what? New line. Now go to your welcome page. Not required a welcome page actually. Now see login page. What I have written here, I have written some tag here, but coming to its display, how the browser is displaying it. How the browser is displaying it. The browser is displaying it like a text field to take the input. I am writing this as a input type is equal to text, but browser is displaying this as a text field. Input type is equal to text. Input type is equal to password to take some text. Input type is equal to submit. In this place it is displaying me what? A button. This is our HTML. Very simple. Now what I did here, now if you see what I did here, I have designed my website, combination of web pages. I have placed my website into the server, and you can take any servers in the market, but I have taken the Apache server here, right? And after placing this, now if the server is running, a client can make a request. Here the client is nothing but a web browser. Can make a request to the server by its address, and if as a request it can send a page name. If the request is found, the server is responding back to what? To the client with that page, and browser is taking that page and displaying the page to what? To the end user. Did you understand what I did here? So these kind of applications we are going to develop now. These kind of applications we are going to develop. So then why Java is there? This is what actually. Now the question here is, now you are saying you need to access. Actually, if you want to access, what is the meaning of localhost? Let me clearly discuss this still more. Now what is the meaning of localhost here? Address of the machine. Now what is the address of my machine here? How to see the address of my machine? IP-config. What is this? 192.168.1.11. If any other person wants to connect through his system over the net, 192.168.1.11, he can connect like this with the address of my machine. Let's suppose if you want to access from your machine, this is how we need to access my web page. But it will not run now. You will not get it. Your machine and my machine should be connected. And I don't think it is possible now. It is not possible because this address is local, which is not outside. It is not public address. You cannot do this. Now here is the question. So what actually it is? This is how you access it. http:// this is called as URL. What is this? http:// it's http is hidden here. Actually, if you don't type this also, it is there because by default. So this is a URL. What we call this? URL. So what is this URL contains here? What is this URL contains? So this is how we access the web pages over the net. What is this URL contains? Contains protocol, and this is the protocol we use to access web pages. HTML documents, hypertext transfer protocol. And what is this? Address of the machine where the server is running. What is this? Port number of the machine where the server is running. And what is this? This is the address of the website. And from this website, this is the page I want to access. This is the request. Protocol, host, port number, and the resource. This is called as resource. Now, do I have only one page in my web server? No, right? In my web server, I have multiple. I have different websites. Only one website is there in my web server? No. There are multiple websites are there inside this. You can see. This is which I have developed it, but some other programmers are already developed some web applications inside this. Let us try to access some of these websites. There is a website called as JSP Practice. Are there any? Yeah. There is a login here. What is the website? In the same server, I have one more website with a name called as JSP Practice. A web server can host a number of websites. Here you have a page called as login.html. Here also you have that. It's not displaying me anything, empty. Maybe it is empty. Nothing is there inside that login.html, no code. Or some other you can access. It's wrong? I don't think. No problem. It's not HTML, it is JSP actually. No, this is what? This is some other page developed by some other programmer. I'm able to access it. Right? Then, what does this mean then? I'm saying you need to use the address and all. Then what does this mean then? Where I'm using the address, still I'm getting the website. Same thing here. There is no difference between this, my website, and this website. Then what does it mean here? How I am able to access google.com? What is similarities you have in between this? What is it? I type http://google.com. How it is getting executed then? Right? So what is actually here? What is the internal concept inside this? Right? Now this is the concept we have. So is this thing is correct? Is this thing is clear for you, whatever we did till now? then we can still more understand what is the meaning of google.com and all. If it is clear, then we can see that what is the meaning of google.com and all. Right. So here, just 1 second. Today I'm getting so many calls, I don't know. Right. Now here, so both are actually same here. Now what is the difference? If you see this one, now as we discussed, now there may be, as we discussed, the first point, what is a web here? The first point, a web is nothing but network of computers, and any computer can act like a what? Server. My machine itself is acting like a server here. Like this, how many servers can be there? A number of servers. Let's suppose this is one server, this is one server, this is one server, like this. A number of different servers can host what? A number of different applications. This is Google, this is what? Yahoo, this is Facebook, like this. Different machines can host what? These are all websites, different applications. Now as a client, now this is the client. Again, clients can be located in different locations in the universe. Nothing but these are also some boxes you can think. Yeah, this one box browser, right? Now this client can access. Now if this client, through these clients, if you want to access these websites, what you need to do? Through these clients, if you want to access these websites, what you need to do here? As I did here, you need to make a request to this server, or you can make a request to this server, or you can make a request to this server. That's your choice. That is your choice. A web application can be hosted. If through this client, if you want to make, you need to make a request to this server where that application is running. Now if you want to make a request, what you need to do here? You want to make a request, what you need to do here? As I told you, you need to use a protocol, right? So what you need to do here? Now you need to remember the protocol. Obviously it will be HTTP. You need to know the address of that machine, right? 192 something big number, then name, like this. Here also, if you want to access this Facebook, you need to same HTTP, then address 192 something 1 dot something Yahoo, same thing. Everybody in the universe, if you want to access, if you want to connect to the different machines, it is need to be known. This address need to be known. But it is very difficult to remember these addresses. Yes or no? Is it possible to remember the addresses? Each and every machine, there will be some millions. No, right? So generally people use say mechanism called as domain name servers. There will be some other servers will be used for this. What they are called as DNS servers. DNS. There will be some kind of servers will be there inside, right? So what is the responsibility of these servers? So here it is a simple map. The server is simple. You can imagine here it is a mapping kind of server. What it is going to do here? Let's suppose there will be simple table kind of thing in simple, right? Just don't think much here. Now what is this? Now here what they do here is the names will be mapped to the address. Google.com, this is a machine. Facebook.com, this is the machine. Yahoo.com, this is a machine. Now when you type actually address in your browser, it goes here. It takes that name. It goes to the DNS server. It takes the address. This DNS server sends this address back to what? This one. And using that address, your browser is going to connect to what? Google. So these kind of servers are called as what? Domain naming servers. Are you able to do this? So that is the reason why instead of it is very complex to remember the addresses of each and every machine. So what people did is simply these addresses are mapped to some names. Simply these addresses are mapped to some names. Google.com, it is running in this machine. So when you type google.com, it first request is sent to a domain name server. From this it takes the address, and this address will be given sent back to your browser. Now your browser uses that address to make what? Request to this server. This is how. But in our case it is not required. Yes, this is the case. If you want to see this, if you want to see all these things in Java, in our basic Java, core Java, there is one package called as, right, there is one package called as net, java.net. There one simple class is there in this. That class is called as inet address. Inet address. So just you can create the object for this class, and to this object if you pass the name, let's suppose inet address object, I'm passing the address of www.google.com. When you pass the name of this, it is going to give you the address of that site, address of that machine. If you pass the domain name here like this, there will be some method by get by name, something is there, get by name, and into this method it takes the name of the address. It is not the correct way, just I am giving google.com, and it returns you the address of that application where it is running. So google.com or this one, all are same here. Instead of using, because it is complex to remember, so people uses some kind of different mechanism to access these web pages by using some simple names. If one name is already used, you cannot use some other same name for some other site here. Once a name is used, you cannot reuse this name for some other sites. So these names must be unique. So here in our case, typing google.com or accessing with IP address, both are same. Right? So in my case, I tried it with both, right? So here in my example here, so this is the same thing here. Instead of this address, you can use what? Localhost also. So localhost is the name which is given to that address, I can say. This is a by default name for each and every machine. Localhost is the name, and it is internally using that address 192.168.1.11. But localhost, if I want to use this localhost, the client as well as server both should be in the same machine. In my case, it is same. Port number, yes. Port number is the one where your application is running. In my machine, in each and every machine, every application runs in a separate port. Let's suppose my machine, how many applications are running here? There are a lot. Each and every application will run in a dedicated port number will be there. There will be some 0 to 65535 ports will be available. Each and every machine contains 0 to 65535 ports are available. In these ports, any application run in any port number. Yes. No. This port number is for my server, not for application. This is for my server. In my server, this application is there. All my applications are running in the same server, and my server is running in a port number called as 9090, not for website. This is for my software, Apache software. This port number is for my Apache software. When you use JDBC program, if you see there also I have used a port number called as 1521. What is the meaning of that? Where that Oracle software is running. That is the Oracle software running location in my machine. 9090, this is my Apache is running. You can change this port numbers, absolutely possible. While you install your software, it is going to ask. Some by default it takes these port numbers, but while you install these web servers, it is going to ask you this. Right? So this is what actually domain name servers here. Now if you want to still more easily you want to understand this entire concept, it is not again different here. You can always compare this concept with right? You can always compare this concept whatever we discussed here with one more concept called as power, right? So our power system, whatever the current we are getting, right? Can you compare this concept? Now my question is very simple. My question is very simple here. Now you are using power every day in your regular life. You are using a power every day, right? Now my question is, how you will be getting a bill? How the bill will be generated for the power what you consumed? Can you see here? It's very simple to understand this concept, this internet, because it is same as power. Whatever the power we have, power distribution system and it is similar to that. You will be using the power. My question is simple. Everybody are using the power here and everybody are getting a bill. My question is how you are getting a bill. Now, and simple, right? Fine. And in your house you have lots of rooms. Let's suppose 3 rooms or 4 rooms. In each room you will be having a power, right? And through each and every socket you can access this power. Right? That is where the concept is. Now let us try to understand. Now I think you know how you are getting a power bill. How you are getting a power bill. Right? So this is the important thing to understand. Now a house like this, multiple houses, lots of houses, all houses I can say as clients here. Each and every house will have a unique, each and every house will have a meter, separate meter connected to it, right? Yes. And all your connections, whatever the connection, internal connections you have in your house, right? All your connections, you will have different rooms, and different rooms will have what? Different powers, and all these powers sockets, all these power things will be connected to what? Your meter, right? How many rooms you will have? All rooms cables are connected to the same meter, right? This is your internal architecture of your power system in your house, right or not? All power cables are connected to the meter of your house, right? Now this meter is connected to where? This meter is connected to where? Now directly you construct, now the question is simple. Now you have constructed your new house with all this power connections and all. Now you can get the power. You have a house, everything is ready, you have designed your internal power, what architecture and all, meter and all. Now you can get the power. Now you can get the power directly. Did you understand my question, what I'm asking? Imagine you have constructed a new house, everything. You cannot get it, right? Power, you need to get it from outside source. Your house need to be connected to the outside network, some pole. Your house need to be connected to the outside network. Power is not there in your house. Power, it is there outside. It is there outside. So there is some poles. In our country we have poles and all, right? So your house will be connected to a pole. Like this, all houses will be connected in the same way. All houses in your colony will be connected to the same pole. Now the power is there in the pole then? Power is there in the pole? No, power is not there in the pole. All these poles, like this, you will have multiple poles. All these poles are connected to what? A centralized transformer, right? All these poles will be connected to a centralized transformers. Power is there in these transformers? No. Again, no. All these transformers are connected to what? A main network where you will have power station, substations and all. Now this is where you have the power. This is where you have the power, in the substations and all. From this, multiple transformers, from a single transformer, multiple poles, from a single pole, multiple houses. Now my question is, if we take our country, now this is a big network. I can say what? This is a power network. And these things are a transformer, this is a substation to main station to some others, right? Like this, multiple substations are connected to what? Main station. We'll have, right, power grids in our country. Now these millions of houses are there. There are some millions of houses are there. How the bill will be generated for your house? Can you see? There will be millions of houses are connected together over a network. That is the internet. What is the meaning of internet? Network of computers. This is a power network, where all houses are connected to a power network. and power is not there in your house, power is not there in the pole, power is not there in this one transformer. From somewhere the power is coming. My question is, how your house will be generated a bill? Not your house. Each and every house will be generated with their own bill, right? Each and every house will be generated with their own bill. How it is possible? How they are going to calculate which house consumed how much power and all? Meter reading, it's fine. Now this house meter is consumed. Through this meter, this much power is supplied to that house. How it is going to know? Each house will have its own meter, right? And millions of houses, millions of meters. Then how they are going to know this house has this much bill, right? That is the key point here. Each and every meter will be given what? Each and every meter will be given a unique number. It is how this is identified. A unique number. Each and every house in our country will have a unique number. Not only meter numbers actually. When somebody writes a letter, how this letter will be dispatched to your house? In our country, each and every house will have a unique identification number. Mails, unique mail IDs. So each and every meter will have a unique number. Through this unique number, that house will be identified. So throughout millions of houses are connected to a central power station, and each and every house will have what? A unique identification number. Through this number only, this is how they are going to be identified. In the same way, it is not different. When millions of computers are connected together, each and every machine will be given a unique address. That address we call as what? Each and every machine will be given a unique address. That address we call as IP address. There is some kind of standard mechanism is there to do this addressing, that is called as IP, Internet Protocol. There is again one protocol is there to define this addressing mechanism. So this is how your computer, when your computer is connected to a network. Now let's suppose I purchased a new computer, can I access the internet? No, this is a basic question. I just purchased a new computer, can I access the internet? No, right? Your computer need to be connected to a network which is already established. There is a already established network is there. Your computer need to be connected to that established network, and for that we will be taking some connection, internet connection, LAN or something. And while your computer is connected to that network, your computer will be given a unique address that is called as IP address. If your computer is not connected to the network, you cannot get that power. You cannot get that what? Pages. This is the same technique you have here, right? The same technique you have here. Evaru lopatiki ra. Same thing here. The computers should be connected over a network, and each and every computer will be given an address, unique address. Now anybody in the network can access your computer also. Your machine also can be accessed with the address of your machine. Somebody should know. And these addresses will be different address. There will be private, public addresses will be there, right? So this is what here. So that is later here. Now this is kind of technology we are going to learn. But whatever the thing we did here today, the web application development, and I have placed some web pages in the server, and I'm trying to access these web pages by using a browser. There are some drawbacks are there with this HTML kind of pages, so that to overcome those, there is Java people has provided some kind of advanced features, that is serverless technology. So this is kind of application we are going to develop in the next sessions, and it should be very clear the rules and responsibilities here.